So welcome everyone to Thursday night yoga therapy. And tonight we are working with the lower back again. If you could have these props available, so if you have a bolster, great. If you don't have a bolster, get a big bed pillow. The other prop I'd like you to have is a pillow, something of this shape, thin pillow. Maybe a slightly bigger one as well. So at least one pillow, and then a belt or a scarf. So just make sure you have those. I'm going to be doing a lot in particular with the bolster tonight. Okay. So when you're ready, lying on your back, and I'm sorry, I'm going to add just one more light. Forgot this one. It should help brighten things a bit. Okay. So just lying on your back. And just notice, as we have the last couple of weeks, whether it feels good to have your legs straight or to bend your knees. So pick one of those. Some of my students like to have actually this thin block, I call it a soft block, underneath the buttocks in this position. It's quite low under the sacrum. Some people really like that, so you can always try that. So when you're ready, you're going to inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, bring your arms down, just that. Inhaling from the chest to the belly. Exhale from the belly to the chest. Just keep that going. Make sure no one's trying to get in. Curl here. Now for fun, try just moving one arm. And then the other. And notice how that feels on the lower back and the upper back, the whole back. Feel those muscles working on just one side of the spine at a time. And with shoulder issues, you might not be bringing your arms so high. You could have a bolster or a big pillow behind you that you bring your arm to, or just bring your hand to a place that feels comfortable for you. So make sure that you're adjusting that according to your neck and shoulders. And then if it's comfortable, again, we're going to add both arms. Just see if you can feel both sides of the back working at the same time. Focusing on the breath, can you make it long and smooth? Then maybe staying in the full pose, Tadaka Mudra. Just breathing here. If you like, you can interlock the fingers, palms facing up, and away. If you like, you can bring the feet together or just adjust the arms to comfort. They could be lower, for example, cactus arms. That might work better for your body. And exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Inhale from the chest to the belly. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Inhale from the chest to the belly. One more time in these steps with the breath. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Now hold after exhale if you can. Draw the belly in and up. Feel the lower back move to the floor as you do this. Again, adjust those arms to comfort. Your legs could also be bent. Inhale, release. One more time, exhale from the pelvic floor all the way up to the belly. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. One more, draw everything in and up, hold after exhale. Feel the lower back, come to the floor. Inhale. And exhale, release, bring the hands down. And just rest, notice how you feel. Okay, so we're going to start drawing the legs in from this place. We're going to do one leg at a time and then both perhaps. So inhale, bringing just one arm up. So I'm bringing up my left arm for you. And then exhale, draw that left leg in using your core, dragging the heel on the ground, and then bring it all the way to Apanasana. And if you like, give that knee a hug. This can be wonderful for the lower back. And then inhale, extend that leg out and the arm out. And exhale, bring the hand down. We're going to do the other side. Inhale, extending the right arm up, arching spine. Exhale, start to exhale and draw the leg in as you bring that arm down. Feel the core drawing that leg in using your Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, the pelvic floor stomach blocks, and hug the knee at the end of the exhale. And then inhale, extend back down. Exhale, release. Okay, we're going to do this with two arms now. Inhale, both arms coming up. Just to make it a little bit more efficient. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, drawing one leg in and hug that knee. And if you want, you can also add on a lift of the chin. Inhale, extend. You can do this with one arm if you prefer. Exhale, drawing the other leg in. Use from the pelvic floor up to the belly button. So this is a core exercise as well as a lower back stretch, adding the chin up, head up. If that works for your upper back, neck, and shoulders, inhale, coming down. Just get this going your own timing, side to side. This is a wonderful, gentle exercise that I remembered this week. I haven't done it in a long time. Lovely stretch for the lower back and works with the core.
as well. So we've got two poses here, Tadaka Mudra, or Sutasana, sometimes called, and Ekapada Apanasana. This is an Apanasana pose, knee to chest. This pose is often given by physiotherapists, chiropractors, massage therapists for lower back health. Now, if that's feeling all very simple, you could try bringing both legs in and go into full Apanasana and see how that feels. For me, that feels completely different in my lower back. I feel it much more in the sacrum. I don't know about you, but that's my experience. So it's a lot more weight. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. I try to wake up those core muscles in the earlier exercise. This add-on, I've been doing a lot of this in the last few years to really work my thyroid, just to help with my metabolism as I age, to stimulate my thyroid. But that is a choice. It also strengthens the neck flexors, which can be very helpful if you have a weak neck. So this is an add-on. And it can be very soothing for the nervous system. And if you like, you can add a hold after exhale to that knee to chest movement. Again, don't lift the head up if you're weak in your neck and you have any pain. Just one more time with hold after exhale. Exhale, bring the arms down and rest. Just let the breath rest. Okay, now we're going to bring the legs up one at a time. You do one arm at a time, opposite arm to leg as well, or both arms. I'm going to do both arms just to make it a little bit more efficient, but you could do this with one arm at a time as well. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, one leg coming up as one arm comes down or both. And maybe holding the back of the thigh. That leg can be a little bit bent. If this is not happening for you, to grab that thigh, just bend the knee and then inhale, extending out. Now you can do this with the opposite knee bent. Sorry, I was bending the wrong knee. So you can drag one leg in as you do this. This makes it a lot easier. So I'm just showing that way. I've been doing this one quite a bit recently, so you probably have learned it. So I'll just show that again. If you want to bend the opposite leg as you draw that leg up, you can do that. So this is going into the hamstrings. Now, if you do it with a lot of precision, you can also use the core. You can also bring the head up to add that strengthening of the front of the neck, the throat, and stimulate the thyroid, we believe. I actually did read a paper that demonstrated that, so that was kind of cool a number of years ago. They showed that neck movement actually does affect those with hypo and hyperthyroidism. Now, if this is feeling super easy, you could do it with both legs. This is quite tough. I'd recommend doing it with a little bit of a bent leg, or just go down part way. So this is right from Chennai. Today is Krishnacharya's birthday, and I'm going to be doing a lot of Chennai things today. So inhale, coming down, you could bend those knees, touch the floor. Exhale up, Urdhva Prasrita Padasana. The classical, you go all the way down. This is quite tough. All the way, and then exhale up. That is quite tough. So don't do that unless you're quite strong in your abs. If you want to make it a little easier, just go part way down. This is almost like Navasana, supine Navasana boat pose. And really working on strengthening those lower abdominals, which helps with our lower back. You can do this, as I said earlier, one leg at a time. So you can do it like this, for example, which is what I did for years when my back was very weak. Despite a dance career, I was very weak in my core when I started yoga. And this is all I could do for many years, in my 20s through early 30s. And then I started to be able to do the whole thing. So step by step. And even as you age, you can change these muscles. You can also stay in the position and breathe here. This is kind of fun with one leg down. That leg can be bent, of course, just touching the toe on the floor. And then exhale, switch. All variations of Urdhva Prasrita Padasana. So now I'm just staying on one side, hanging out. The breath tends to get a little short when you're doing these kinds of exercises. Do your best. And finishing up, if you haven't already, bring your knees to your chest. Let's do some asanas. Inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees to chest. Now, I want you to do this without your hands. So you're using your mula bandha, that root lock, to move your legs rather than your hands. Inhale out, exhale, draw everything in. You could do this with one knee at a time if that feels better for you, and then switch sides. Now add a hold after exhale. Squeeze from the pelvic floor up to the belly button. Hold. Hold those locks. Inhale, moving away. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Draw everything in and up, the stomach in and up. Hold after exhale. You could add feather-light touch of the hands on the knees. And then at the end of the exhale, you could pull in just a little bit. So again, try to do the work with the pelvic floor up to the belly button, not the hands. When I learned that detail of this pose, it completely changed it for me. Keep the lower legs relaxed, don't extend them. That's a different pose. This is the lower legs are completely relaxed in this pose of Panasana. And release, take a rest, and notice how you feel. Okay, we're going to come back to those in a minute with using the bolster, which will be a very different experience. But we're going to take a break from that, and we're going to move into bridge poses. So you can put a block between your thighs You can use a belt on the outside of your thighs. I'm going to show that variation today. So I'm going to be pressing out, which actually, for the most part, my lower back prefers. For many people, it feels really good to press in. You can also use both, especially if you've been in a car accident or something and you have a very unstable pelvis. Belting in that block can be very, very helpful. So that's an option. I'm not going to be doing that myself. Play with the width of the feet, how that feels. This is one I have to say it's a bit nicer with a mat, but I'm going to go to the wall to give me a bit more support. So inhale, lifting the hips up as high as you can, and I'm pressing into that belt. You could be pressing into the center, and exhale, coming down, and don't turn your head like I just did in the pose. That's never a good idea. So I'm going to try not to do that. Inhale, coming up. And exhale, coming down. You might get a cramp. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. This is great for the lower back. This pose, very simple, excellent pose for the lower back. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, we're going to stay. Now, maybe you can tuck your shoulders under. You have your palms resting on your stomach. You could be in cactus pose here for the upper back. You have your arms just down or interlock them under you. And breathe here as you inhale, try to lift a little higher. And exhale, stay. Wonderful pose for strengthening the glutes, glute max, hamstrings, the whole back body, the lower back, and opening the upper back, neck, and shoulders. Strengthens the legs. And you can add that chin lock to work with the thyroid neck. And when you've had enough, just coming out of that and rest. Okay, from here, we're going to go into a restorative version of this Setu Bandhasana. And I'm going to use this brick, this hard block underneath my pelvis. You could use a stack of these soft blocks if you have those, or a bolster, or a hard-ish pillow if you want. So any of those things. And this is my personal favorite one, but it really depends on your back. So mine likes something really hard. Some people like something soft. So just feel it out. If your body says no, respect it, because it will know what it wants. Trust me, right away. Inhale, lift up and slide that block underneath. You could put it on its high edge, but I'm not going to show that. That's pretty intense. And right at the sacrum area, and the blocks or bolster, if you have those, it just depends on comfort. I've got the belt here so that my legs are supported. And I'm just going to breathe here and open the front body. This one, Mr. Iyengar uses actually for constipation, as well as just for digestion, period. So kind of stretches the colon, just kind of an interesting idea. My teachers don't talk about that. Now let's do a little pranayama here. Inhale into the chest. into the belly. Can you hold after inhale? Maybe tuck the chin in. And exhale, release. Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat, inhale into the chest, into the belly. Hold after inhale. And exhale, release. This is a pose, I have to say, I really like having the block between the thighs also belted in. I forgot to show that, but that's a variation. Inhale, chest, belly, chin lock. Hold after inhale. And exhale, release. This is to build energy, build prana. Inhale into the chest, into the belly. Hold after inhale with that chin lock. Exhale, release, and just rest here. Just observe the natural breath. And when you're ready, gradually coming out of this restorative pose where you could stay quite a long time, we are going to move on. That pose can be really helpful if you have tightness in your hip flexors. And also, I found very helpful for bulging discs. If they're bulging back, not forward, but if they're bulging back, which is the norm. Okay, I'm going to take my bolster now. Don't get up too fast because it can give you a bit of a headache, so try to avoid that. And the bolster can be a little bit challenging, but just slip it under your buttocks. And you're just going to see where you want to have it. When you put your legs up, you will know. So you can use a pillow, hopefully as hard a pillow as possible and fairly thick. And just start by putting your legs up rather, and have your belt ready. We're going to do some nice leg movements in this position and leg stretches. So we're just going to start with Viparita Karani here, and the legs up. Just resting the mind, the body. Many of us have been standing all day. Oh, someone's trying to get into the class. We haven't been there too long.
And just stay there and breathe. If you like, you can add a hold after exhale. And I really recommend that hold after exhale. Inhale into the chest, into the belly, exhale pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, and then draw everything in and up and hold after exhale in the semi-inversion. Sometimes that will be easier than without it to engage those bandhas
Mula Bandha, pelvic floor lock, and Uddiyana Bandha to the stomach lock. Now this is contraindicated if you're menstruating, pregnant, can also be contraindicated for any blood pressure issues. So just be careful if any of those apply to you. All the holds after inhale and exhale are contraindicated for blood pressure issues. And counting the breath in your head, holding after exhale about half the length of your exhale. This also is really wonderful for incontinence, if you have any issues with that. Very common as we age, that prolapse of those organs. All right, we're going to start to move into the lower back again, no pun intended. All right, when you're ready, you're going to see if you can start bringing one leg down a little bit or a lot. You can bend the knee if it's too hard to keep it straight. And exhale, bringing it back. Now feel your core working as you do that. You're also stretching the opposite hip flexor. Just back and forth, inhale away, exhale towards you. Even as I inhale, I'm engaging my pelvic floor a little bit, trying to keep that mula online. I start to exhale. Before I start to move, you should be feeling those abdominal muscles shaking a little bit. And yes, you can hold on to that opposite leg. That's a great variation to take a little bit of the pressure off the abdominals. It's easier if you do that. It's harder without. We're also stretching and extending the lower back. And just finishing up. Exhale, bring your feet a little bit or a lot towards your face. This is like a halasana with a bolster. And inhale, legs to the sky. And exhale, bringing the legs back to comfort. You could also bend the knees if that feels better in your body rather than have them straight. Keep your buttocks on the ground, or sorry, on the bolster in this case. So this is bolster halasana, plow pose. And notice if you feel that on one side or the other of the lower back. And I'm adding a little bit of hold after exhale in the position. You could also just stay in the pose now. And you could hold your calves or your feet. And maybe feeling quite a big stretch in the lower vertebrae of the back. Any of these poses don't feel good in the back, just avoid them, of course, because every back is different, what it likes and doesn't like. So now we're going to stretch our legs. So we'll start with your left leg. It's my right. You're going to bring the opposite leg down. And I'm putting a belt on the ball of my foot. You can have that opposite foot on the ground or extend the leg long. So you're getting a nice stretch in that hip flexor. And if you can even come to the wall with that opposite toe, you'll get even a deeper stretch into that hip flexor. So we're stretching the hamstrings as well as the opposite hip. Now, if you want to move a little bit, you can exhale, bend that left knee. Inhale, straighten. This stretches everything just slightly differently. If you tend towards edema, swelling in the legs after standing all day, just even doing about 30 minutes of this will probably reduce that swelling. So all these inversions with the bolster are very helpful for that condition. Just a reminder. Varicose veins, any circulatory issues in the legs. You feel that big stretch in the hip that is down into the hamstrings of the upper leg. Maybe stay in the full pose and pull the ball of the foot down, that little toe side of the belt, making sure you're pulling that as well. Getting into the calf and the 3 hamstrings. And if it's comfortable, with a little bit of bolster under the hip, opening that hip to the side as you inhale and exhale back to the center. I'm holding with just the same hand as the foot. As the leg moving, inhale, opening. Getting a nice groin stretch there. Exhale, closing. If this is not comfortable, you can move just a little tiny bit rather than as much as I am. You can stay there if you like and breathe, or keep it moving. When you're ready, coming back to the center, possibly switching hands with the belt, so opposite hand to foot, and coming across just enough to stretch the outside of the hip and lower back. So this is leading towards Japra Parivriti, which we're going to do after this series as per requested, also great for the lower back. Try to keep that hip coming down, stretching that IT band. It might be quite tight if you're a walker or runner. Use your legs a lot. And that gets into that quadratus lumborum again a little bit. Inhale, center. Exhale, just stay. A few breaths as a counter. And when you're ready, I'm going to do all that on the other side. This is one you could take home with you, I hope. It's nice with the bolster because it's nice and wide for that hip opening, but you can use a big bed pillow. A king size one would be preferable. So the other side. As you exhale, you can bend that knee. And inhale, straighten. This is like a supine lunge. So if you're tight in those hip flexors, this can be really helpful. Now, if it's too much, you can bend the opposite knee, and that makes it much easier. So that's an option. You can also have that opposite leg on the wall. Just breathing and moving at your own pace. And then if you like, staying in the pose. Supta Padangustasana, Ekapada, one-legged version. Stretching the whole leg, making sure that little toe side, you're pulling that belt down because it will tend to want to ease off. And my belt is on the ball of the foot, which gives you a bit better connection through the whole leg, I find. Trying to feel the calf and into the 3 hamstrings. Keep that hip drawing down with the bolster, that's a bit easier. And then when you're ready, I'm hoping you have room here, you're going to open your foot to the side. I'm just going to scoot over a bit. So I've got room, you might have to do the same. This actually can be really nice if you have a wall like I do here and you can rest that leg on the wall. That's super nice. So you've got 2 walls like I do here. It's pretty sweet way to do this. You can go back and forth, exhale, center, inhale, open. I've got the belt in one hand, same hand as leg. And that bolster is keeping my pelvis super balanced. So if you tend to have a pelvis that is quite unstable, having the bolster can really lock that in place very nicely. And then if you want, you can stay in the pose, hang out there. Notice one side is quite different than the other. When you're ready, you're going to bring it back to the center as you exhale and across to the other side, switching hands. And you might be feeling quite a stretch on the outside of the hip. This is like a supine Trikonasana Parivriti. My Iyengar yoga teacher, Lindsay Whelan, she used to say that, which I thought was kind of brilliant. She was a big fan of this pose. I learned these leg stretches from her, actually, this sequence. I added the bolster over time just to add some variety to the experience in the lower back. If it's too much, you can always bend and straighten or bring it back to the center and then across. Keep dropping that hip down. And when you're ready, coming back to the center, counter pose, just staying at the top here, breathing. If you're doing this at home, that whole practice usually takes a good 20 minutes, which I think we've done today. And bring both legs up. And you might ditch the belt at this time or bring your feet back into the halasana. Inhale, coming up with the feet to the sky. And I'm just going to show you a variation. If you've got a long belt, this can be nice. So you can kind of hang with your feet away from you a little bit, away from that upward point. And then exhale, draw back and try to use the core to move your legs. The belt is just there to support the lower back as you bring them away from that center point. That can be quite a bit on the lower back. So just swinging back and forth. And just notice how this feels on the lower back. You can inhale, point the toes, and exhale, flex. You could be doing this with the legs coming to a wall as well if you don't have a belt. And I do this swinging action with one leg at a time too sometimes. Just going to stay in the halasana now with or without the belt, your choice. So I'm going to get rid of my belt at this point. And coming to the center, if it's comfortable, you're going to open those legs apart. As you inhale, get a nice groin stretch. I think we did this last week. So we did a lot of this last week, but without the bolster. And exhale back to the center and use the pelvic floor to move your legs together. You could do this with bent knees. If straight legs is not comfortable, you could do this also sliding your legs on a wall. Try to keep those knees facing forward towards you. Feel the stretch in the groin. Start to exhale, then start to move. You feel like your mula bandha is moving your legs together, not your legs moving your legs. Very different experience. This should be felt in your transversus abdominis and your pelvic floor. Let's point and flex the feet as well. And just finishing up. And just staying in Viparita Karani. Adding that hold after exhale, you can tip the feet a little bit towards the face for a different experience in the lower back as well as the stomach area. Feels quite different. This was one of the ways Krishnamacharya taught this pose is with the feet a little bit closer to the face. And I believe he probably did that to help get those bandhas engaged, because much easier to get them activated with that small movement. Do that hold after exhale, really using the gut. It's going to be very empowering. And this whole practice is a very moony practice. We have a full moon and an eclipse coming tomorrow. I'm doing a 1-0-1-1 ratio. For example, inhale 6, no hold, exhale 6, holding 6 after exhale. You could do also a 2-0-2-1 1 ratio. Inhale 6, no hold. Exhale 6, hold 3. Or a different amount, for example, a 4 or a 5, or even up to an 8 or a 10. When you're ready, just finishing up, rest the breath, bend the knees into the chest. Asana with this bolster or block underneath is also really wonderful for many lower backs. And then as a bit of a counter pose for the back, especially for those of you who prefer back arches, we're going to see if this is an option for you, stretching your legs long with this bolster underneath. So we prepared for this already. We did this earlier with our leg stretches on the floor. We did it with Dvipadipedam bridge. So just make sure your back is very, very comfortable. Just move that bolster until it says yes. You can tie your thighs together. You can tie your ankles together. If this is too much, bend one knee, and that might be much more doable for you. Okay. So if your back is not very happy in extension, which I know mine generally is not, but I have trained it over time, it's definitely improved. You can bend one knee and make it a little easier. This is Satu Bandhasana, so Iyengar yoga pose, and you can tie your thighs or your ankles together. And I think this is our last pose, looking at the time. So at some point, when you've had enough, just move that bolster under the thighs and do a Shavasana relaxation and untie those feet or thighs if they're tied. You could tie both and just breathe here. And as you do that, I'm going to chant for you, chants that I do almost every day to the Krishnamacharya lineage, which for some of you will be new. To honor Krishnamacharya, this is his birthday today. He lived to be 100. Died February 28th, 1989, after living 100 years, and was born November 18th. So moving into Shavasana whenever you're ready from this pose. Shuklam Paradaram Vishnu Shashivanam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanantyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Guru Pyastad Guru Pyascha Namo Vakamati Mahe Praniyamahe Chatabrabhyao Dampati Jagadampati Shri Krishna Gishayatishvarabhyam Samprapta Chakrankana Bhashyasaram
Shri Nud Narangan Prayatao Samapitastam Shri Krishna Mayam Guruvayamite Virode Katike Mase Shatatara Kritorayam Yogachayam Krishna Mayam Guruvayamaham Bhaje Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavirayam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
When you're ready, just starting to come out of your relaxation. Or you can stay there a little longer as we close.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya. Om Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Om Mrityoma Mritangamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.
May we be led from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from limitation to freedom. May we have peace in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions, in our bodies, in our speech, in our minds. May this peace protect us from negativity within ourselves, others, or our natural environment. And sending courage and love to those affected by these floods in British Columbia, as well as in Chennai, India. They're also having floods right now. These natural disasters becoming more of a normal occurrence. May we find peace. May that peace protect us. Namaste, namaskaram. Thank you very much.